Coming up for our next episode, enemas.
I go, they can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go, they can't see me like Houdini, move discreetly. It go, they can't see me like Houdini, Lamborghini. It go.
Welcome to Misbehaving Women, where we unapologetically dive into the issues that matter most to women, from wellness to feminism and everything in between. No sugarcoating, no filter.
We're here to spark conversations about the real life challenges we face, the topics that often get swept under the rug, and the ones men need to hear about if they want to truly support the women in their lives.
I'm Kelly Taylor, a best-selling author, award-winning acupuncturist, and hormone coach for women's health. I'm passionate about helping women live their best and healthiest lives.
I'm Rebecca McMillan, founder of Worthfulness.com, an online self-guided program that teaches teen girls and young women real tools and concepts they use to support unshakable self-worth for life. Together, we're here to shake things up and have some...
I make some real. Sorry. Okay, so
do that again.
Okay, so 3, 2, 1.
Together, we're here to shake things up and have some real, no BS conversations. What happened in Vegas?
As far as New Year's Eve, I think we thought it was going to be over the top insane. And we all agreed that our experience at Mardi Gras in New Orleans was 1,000 times more outrageous than Vegas was for New Year's Eve. Like it was way more crazy in New Orleans.
Shots fired to Vegas. Okay.
But it was so much fun. We ate the most amazing food. We really, like my girlfriend, she picks the top restaurants. She's the person who does all the research. We really ate well and not
Nice.
unhealthy. Like we ate healthy, we ate well. Yeah. And one thing about us is that food's really important to us on our trip. So we want to make sure that we're going to enjoy the food because the food is a big part of our experience.
Totally. Yeah.
And it was pretty amazing, except for New Orleans. New Orleans. I don't even know where that came. Oh my God. Except for New Year's Eve, not New Orleans. New Year's Eve was the worst experience that we had.
Oh,
And it was over the top. Like we had a restaurant that, okay, so we had made a reservation and then the restaurant called and canceled our reservation, said they weren't going to be open. So we're like, oh, that kind of
What?
sucks because we really wanted to. It's a plant-based, it's apparently one of the top plant-based restaurants in the States. It's very well known. I'm not going to
Someone
say its name.
famous must have booked it out, like gave them money.
Well, no. So what we
Oh.
found out is they canceled our reservation, and then my girlfriend happened to be on open table and saw it was open, and she's like, "What is going on?" They said they were closed. So we rebooked. We booked for 7:30 at night, and we get there, and we got there about 15 minutes early, and they're like, "No problem, we can seat you." They sat us in a separate room at the back of the restaurant that had no atmosphere, no music. It was closed off by curtains, and we were like, and there was only 2 tables in it. And we sat down and we're like, is this weird? This is weird, right? We're like, like, why are we in? Like, it felt like you were being punished, like you were put in the back. And then my girlfriend's like, yeah, we're not staying here. Forget this. So she goes out to the front and she's talking with them. And they're like, yeah, sorry, that's our overflow room. And we're like, well, no, we made a reservation. No, like there's no overflow. Like we made a reservation. Overflow means that you're booked to capacity and the people that want to still come are gonna go in your overflow in that little dungeon over there. And it was like even like none of the tables or chairs matched the atmosphere. It was the weirdest room. And while she's up there, like the staff are coming through. So there's some kind of like staff room around the corner.
Yeah.
We're just
You were in like the usual staff room.
and we're like, okay. And we kept saying, this is weird, right?
Yeah.
Like it's New Year's Eve. We want to be out here where
Yeah.
everybody else is.
Of
And
course.
so she had to fight with them. We just got up. We just got up and went to the bar. Like one of the
Oh,
staff came in and we're like, we don't like it here. So we got up, we went to the bar,
okay.
and then she finally came. She had to talk to the staff and she had to talk to the manager. And the manager's like, yeah, sorry, you're gonna have to wait 90 minutes. And she's like, we're not waiting 90 minutes. We made a reservation for 7:30. Like, no, like that's not gonna happen. So they made us wait. So we went to the bar, made us wait half an hour, and finally they sat us at a table that had been empty since we first got there, which was
Oh my
even
God.
more comical. So we're like,
Yeah.
whatever. So then she comes over and she's like, okay, I can seat you now. Just pay for your drinks and we'll do it. And we're like, okay, so you're not gonna comp our drinks. And the thing about all of us is that we're like, the three of us were like, okay, but we don't mind paying for things. Do you know what I mean? But like,
Yeah.
this is your faux pas. It
Yeah.
is now an hour later, and we're nowhere near dinner, and we haven't really had a good experience, and you can't even comp our drinks. No.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
they came back, and then the bar wasn't paying attention to us, and so they kept coming back. I'm like, okay, we'll take it. We're like, well, we haven't paid for our drinks yet. Okay, well, we haven't paid for our drinks yet. Like, this is ridiculous. Finally, they came, they sat us in a booth that had been empty the whole time. The waiter comes over and it was like he was like the road runner. He would come by, he would say something really quick and be gone. We're like, and we're all like, did you catch what he said? It was literally a gong show. Like it was
Shoot.
just, and it was a six-course meal.
Oh,
So you the first two were already set for you and then you got to pick the rest.
okay.
And it was literally, I can't say it was just a gong show. The food wasn't great. And, I'm pretty generous in saying like the food wasn't bad, it just wasn't great. And for
Yeah.
the price that we paid, holy
Yeah.
crap,
Right.
definitely not worth it. And
Right.
we just had a lot of laughs.
Well,
In
it
the
sounds like there
end,
wasn't enough staff, so they're overworked running around.
no, there was lots of
Oh,
stuff,
oh,
just not
really?
a lot of
Okay.
communication and not a lot of caring.
Oh,
And like at one point in time, we had tears. Like there were so many things that made us laugh, even though it
yeah.
wasn't the greatest night.
Yeah.
So yeah, and then we had tickets. We went up to the rooftop, and Vegas is really great at New Year's. 9 hotels do the exact same fireworks, and they do them
Oh,
off at the same time. So it's kind of like the
cool.
sky is all fireworks. So it looks really pretty.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's a plus for Vegas.
Yeah, it was really nice. They had a really big bar, lots of people, and they were giving free, what was it? Espresso martinis.
Oh,
Um, if that was your thing, so you
yeah.
could drink martinis and these little fire pits around the rooftop. So, because it was freezing cold. But it was really nice. We had a great time. So no complaints, except for
Wow.
maybe like our restaurant experience. And even
Yeah.
though we turned that into a ton of
Yeah.
fun, we went to the spa the next day, which was fabulous.
Nice.
Um, if you're in Vegas and you want a great experience at a spa, it's at Resort World and it's phenomenal. It's got the cold pools, hot pools. It's got everything. I'd never even heard of it. It's a salt room. It's beautiful, beautiful with this enormous crystal in the middle of it's like the crystal. I can't even explain how big the crystal was. It was
Wow.
enormous. And you sit around it and salt comes through and you breathe in the salt. You can't see it. It's like it's so fine you can't see it, but it's supposed to like clear out your nasal passages and really
Nice.
healing. Yeah, and all the different pools were really great. So I did two cold plunges. We did sauna. It was fabulous. Couldn't say enough good
Amazing.
words about it. Yeah, so it
That's
kind
a
of made
great
up
way to
for.
start a new year.
Yeah, and we spent I think we spent 3 or 4 hours there, so it was really good. Then we went and we had a phenomenal dinner that night, so it was a great way to kind of close it out.
Yeah.
So yeah. So that was my biggest experience. Nothing wild, nothing crazy. Just a lot of eating good food and tons of walking. Like we were doing 20 and 30,000 steps a day. We went to the
Whoa.
Sphere. Yeah, we went to the Sphere and we saw Michael Jackson's One, which was phenomenal. Cannot
Oh,
say enough good things about it. Can't say enough good
wow.
things about the Sphere. The Sphere was incredible.
Yeah.
Definitely something everybody should check out. And Michael Jackson One was so good. Like
Wow.
really good. Yeah. It was kind of shocking too because they've got images, they had a hologram of him at the end.
Oh, wow.
Um, they had like amazing dancers. It was very chaotic. There was so much going on because it's Cirque du Soleil, so there's always something going on. But
Yeah.
they also had the Michael Jackson as a child and then
Oh,
him as an adult, and they've got different because it's enormous. Like you can see it everywhere, and it was almost kind of sad to see how much he had like changed his face
yeah.
and how much his
Yeah.
nose had changed his face, his skin. I don't know. I don't know. We all three of us were like, oh, good. That's kind of crazy. So,
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. So
but
different.
and regardless of the controversy that goes on with him, still, and just an incredible entertainer and an incredible, talented, singer and dancer. So,
Yeah. And that's the Cirque show, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh,
And it
yeah.
was
The
packed.
music.
Everything that we did was packed, and it was, yeah, but it didn't ever really feel overly crowded, which is nice. So we were looking up to see how many people go into Vegas for New Year's, and there was like 400,000 people go into come into Vegas. Yeah. So they do it
Wow.
well.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do,
They
they
can
do it
handle it.
very well. Yeah.
Wow.
So that was
Amazing.
mine. How about
Fun.
you? How was your New Year's?
um, so New Year's was, I mean, it could not be more different than your New Year's in Vegas. Uh, well, my friend had us over. She, like last minute, she's like, oh, let's just like everyone come over, bring something. Like we'll just do a chill thing with like, appies and whatever. And actually, in the end, her husband made an amazing dinner. But Evie woke up early that morning and we had two activities. We had like a hip hop dance class. We brought her to the skating rink. I'm like, she's definitely going to nap so we can stay out a bit later. She was not napping. We drove around in the car for like an hour. This girl was not going to sleep. So I'm like, fuck.
Party animal.
Yeah. So, and also, like, my friend's so nice. She'd said, oh, you can come earlier and we'll celebrate like Greenland New Year's, And so we got there later because I was driving around trying to make Effie go to sleep. And she's very shy. At first, takes a while to warm up. And so she's kind of doing her shy thing. And then my friend said, oh, what song do you want me to put on? And I'm like, oh, can you put on Shake It Off, like from the Sing animated movie? There's all these big singers and songs in there. And Evie loves, and that was in her dance class that morning, and it's the only thing that made her come alive. So before she even, like, my friend's husband handed her a mic, and she just starts singing, like, immediately. It's like you put
Awesome.
a mic in her hand, and she is not shy no more. Like, she knows all you know. She jumped on the couch, she's performing. So that was awesome. Getting to see her have so much fun and have this mic and like really get into it. And then I did karaoke, which I haven't done in I don't know how many years. It's just fun, right?
Nice.
Because that was my friend got that for Christmas from her husband. So yeah, we had a
And
great time.
can you sing? That's the thing about karaoke.
No,
There's
I'm
the
a terrible
karaoke
singer.
people that love
Yeah,
it and have a
yeah,
great time, but
yeah.
torture everyone else.
Yes,
And then the
that's
people
who.
who
Yes,
can sing and
yeah,
do really well.
yeah. And I always say to people, I'm really sorry. Uh, you know. I remember years ago being I don't know if you remember the Dufferin. It was downtown. It was a gay
Oh
bar.
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And they had karaoke, and sometimes we'd go there, and I can't remember what I was singing, but like the guys were sort of heckling me. They're like, "You sure are cute, honey, but you cannot sing. You got to get off that stage." Like, okay. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's me.
That's
So
a
I
nice,
went
polite
through
way
one.
to do it.
Yeah, I
Rather
know.
than throwing a beer at your head.
Start out with a compliment and then just cut to the truth. And I mean,
Yeah.
the guys there were incredible singers. Uh, and my friends, a lot of them are really good singers. So I didn't torture them too much.
Nice.
Anyways, yeah, it's just an easy, fun way. And they were drinking, like margaritas and stuff. So they were free, no inhibitions about singing. Anyways, yeah, and we did basically do Greenland New Year's and came home. And
Nice.
yeah, early night. But yeah, it was fine. I'm like, God, this might be the most fun I've had all year. Just doing karaoke.
Oh, that's nice.
I wore my full sequins dress. I'm like, I never go out, so I'm gonna just enjoy
Wow,
it.
so you really did it
I
up.
yeah, I really went for it. Yeah,
I
it was
love
great.
that.
And then I don't know, what does it mean when a dog is your kiss on New Year's? I really, I really do want to know. What does it mean? Like
I
my
could not tell you. What
my
does that
friend,
mean? I don't
my
know.
my friend has these two little dogs, and you know I'm not a dog person, and she's like, oh, just so you know, they'll try and get up in your face, and like they'll try and kiss you, and I'm like, don't worry, because I'm like, I'm not holding them and carrying them around like everyone else. I'm like, it's not gonna happen. And I was sitting on the couch, and someone made me laugh, and I'm laughing with my mouth open, and I turned to the side, and that dog was just there waiting, and he just put his tongue in my mouth and French kissed me. I was like, ah! I'm like, oh my god.
That's awesome.
So then I just can't stop thinking, like, okay, a dog just French kissed me. And usually, first of all, what do I have to go like take a pill? Like, I don't know what's going on.
No, no. Okay, so now I believe it's good luck. So that's
Okay,
where the
good.
good luck comes in. Yeah.
He went for it. He was waiting and he was ready. He's like, I'm gonna
You're
get
his
this chick.
type. What can
Yeah,
we say?
I know.
Because you're the hard to get, right? So he wasn't going for the easy girl. He was going for the hard to get girl. So,
So
and he
true.
got her.
He
He got
got me.
her.
He got me.
So
Yeah,
maybe it's good luck for him because
he's gonna have a
so
great.
maybe best year of his life.
Oh my God.
Yeah. You know
And
where
the
men
other
are. They want what they can't have. So
Yes, it's so true. And I think
yeah.
that was Bowie, so he's maybe living through David Bowie. He usually gets all the girls. I don't know.
Yeah.
Uh, the other thing I've been doing all since New Year's, just as often as I can, is listening to the Barbara audiobook of Bab's life story, her
Really? Oh,
memoir.
I didn't know she had one.
Oh
Is it
God,
good?
it's so good, Kelly. I cannot
Okay.
recommend this enough. Now it is I feel like she didn't let anyone edit her. This is Barbara. And so it's
Yeah.
1,000 pages, or I'm doing the audiobook because I want to hear her voice. It's 50 hours, 58 hours. It's long.
Oh, wow, that's a commitment.
So sometimes
That's a
I leave it.
commitment.
Sometimes it's enough, but there's so, like, she sells it all. And also, one thing I'll say about Barbara, she holds a grudge. So if you ever slighted her, she remembered, even if it was when she
Okay.
was a child. She's kept a tally.
Wow.
However, on the other hand, I'll say a lot of people close to her did sort of like, so I understand why she's hurt and she held on to it and remembered it, and she is naming them. She names them all, like if you
Okay.
wronged her.
So
And
is she a little bit like Martha? I don't think Martha will ever forget anybody who slights her.
oh, interesting comparison.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of think that she when you said that, I thought of Martha.
Oh, maybe I also like I felt bad for him. Like, God, it must hurt more when it's people that you thought were your friend or like one of your best friends or your family. And they're the ones doing it. I kind of feel I get it. I don't know. But yeah, maybe a little. The one thing I'll say about Barbara though is she has a self-awareness. Like she tells stories that are very unflattering for her of stuff she did, and she's spilling all that too and saying, I don't know why I did that, or whatever. And you're thinking like, oh my God, why did you do that? Like bad behavior and stuff for her when she was first dating James Brolin and stuff. Anyways, but like she had a love affair with Pierre Trudeau, and I think like she really loved him.
Really?
Brando was in love with her. It sounds like from her like his whole life, like great stories about on one of their first dinner dates, he's sitting across the table early and he goes, I want to fuck you. And she goes, oh my God, that's so crass. Tell me something romantic. And he goes, I'd like to go for a walk in the forest with you. And she's like, oh, I liked that better. That felt romantic. I'm like, what? Like just these wild, crazy things.
Oh my
Her
gosh, that's
mother,
hilarious.
she has a chapter called My Mother. And I can't do a great Barbara. I'm by the end of this, I want to be able to do an incredible impersonation of Barbara's voice. Because what an accent. Oh God, her mom was so narcy. Like actually more than like pure narcissist, not even just a bit narcy, like really sad. Like you actually feel very sorry for Barbara. After her first performance, she's like, Mom, what did you think? And her mom says, your arms look too skinny. you know? Or
Oh,
like for when she couldn't perform for years, remember she forgot her lines at the Central Park concert and it was like 25 years and then she performed in Vegas, flew out her mom and her mom's friends, put them up in a nice hotel. Right before the show starts, someone sees Barbara's mom leaving and she goes, "Where are you going?" And she goes, I've seen her perform a million times. I'm in Vegas. I want to have fun." And she
oh
just
my
leaves. So the
God.
seat's empty. And you're just like, oh, it's so painful. It's so painful. There's so much around that. Like she'd say, "Mom, why didn't you hug me more when I was a kid?" And her mom would say, "Why didn't you tell me that you wanted to be hugged?"
Oh, okay.
And like you could do a whole thing on it. Honestly, yeah, you could do it's so jam-packed. Like her life is an incredible life. Like the men she dated, the people that she's friends with, obviously her touring. And she sings on it sometimes too, and I do think she has one of the most beautiful voices ever. So,
Yeah.
that's why I do think the audiobook. Anyways, yeah, so I've just been so immersed in that world of Barbara. It's all that I can really think about, and poor Paul has to hear every anecdote.
Oh, I love that. I love getting myself immersed in a good book where you're
Yeah.
just like, you can't do anything else but think about when can I, listen to it
Yes.
next. Because
I'm like,
I'm
what
the same
happened? Did
thing
her and
too.
Brando do it? Like, you're like waiting.
Because I like to hear the author's voice. That's one of
Yes.
the best parts about it is you get to really feel like you're part of their story.
Yes. And
Yeah.
especially her voice is so, I don't know, it's some sort of New York something, I guess.
Yeah, she's very New York for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
So yesterday we deconstructed Christmas and we've got crap all over the place. So that's got to all be packed up, put away. So really trying to get myself over the holidays and in really into the new year.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Bring it on, 2025.
Yeah. And I'm not the person I like to have this packed up beforehand. I like to really like when the holidays are done, they're done.
Yeah.
And I feel like this year it's kind of dragged.
But I think you're okay because on the date of recording this, January 6th, isn't that Little Christmas? That's called Little
I have
Christmas.
no idea.
And that's
Oh.
technically really the end of the holiday season. So
I
you're
did
okay.
not know that. You've
Yeah.
actually told me something new. Well, in the city, like all of Vegas is still Christmas. Every
Oh, yeah.
hotel has these massive Christmas decorations, like the Bellagio. Holy, like they went guns a blazing with Christmas. Like everything was supersized times a million, like all their displays. Um, insanity. So, and then the city, everybody still has their Christmas lights out. When I was walking around, I was like, oh, everybody still has their tree up, so it's not so bad.
Nice.
Yeah,
I think Vegas could stay that way all year.
yeah. Well, there's people who keep up their Christmas tree all year.
Yeah, no, that's not okay.
It's not okay, but
No.
people do it. I
Yeah,
have
I know.
in Vancouver in the neighborhood, there is a house who you can walk by in the summertime and you will see a Christmas tree with the lights on. I don't get it. I
I used
don't
to have a
understand
neighbor.
it.
I first I felt like she was competing with me in our old building because I was very
Oh,
over the top Christmassy and like our door and our balcony. And then they moved in and suddenly she had her tree up in, I want to say October. And I'm like, what's this little
what?
chickasita over here trying to wet up me? And she would leave it up
What?
until April
Oh
in their
God,
front
no.
window. Yeah,
Wrong.
I
That's
know.
wrong.
I know.
No,
So at first I'm
sorry.
like, oh no, these people are one upping my Christmas. I got to step it up. And then I thought, oh no, no, you've taken it a step too far. This is
Yeah.
crazy now.
We have said many times that we're not going to judge people on this podcast.
I
I'm
know.
sorry. That is judgy, and I'm judging you. Don't do it. It's wrong. No, sorry. It's wrong. No,
When we said it, I thought in my head, wait a minute, what if it makes them happy? But I just think
no, no,
from
no.
like take our
It's not
advice.
special any
It
anymore.
takes
It's
away
not
the special.
special.
Yeah, it's they would enjoy it more if they just let it be. I
Exactly.
could even let them have 6 weeks. I could negotiate. They could negotiate me to 6 weeks, but yeah,
Yeah.
there's a movie on that.
My mother-in-law believes you should have it up in January because she thinks it's the most depressing month. She thinks that you should have your Christmas lights up
Oh, I
in
love that.
January
I do
because
love
she
that.
says it's so depressing
Yeah.
and the lights bring a lot of joy. And she
Yeah.
says, so that's one thing, but to keep
Yeah.
your tree till April, yeah. no, doesn't. That's wrong. There's a right and wrong sometimes in life. Not everything's in the gray.
Oh God. So we don't judge except on things that you deserve to be judged. That's what we're saying right now.
That's, I don't know what to say. Here we are. Sorry.
Um,
It happened. It happened here on Misbehaving Women. We judge people who have their
over
Christmas tree
Christmas.
up till April or till next year. I don't know. Either or. Yeah. There's worse things to be judged, let's be honest.
Well, yes. Uh,
All right. So today we are going to be talking about enemas. We
mhm,
are. We're going to do it.
yeah.
It's a dirty business. Unintended. It is. It's a very dirty business. But if you know anything about it, and there may be some people who don't know anything about it. So one thing I want to say, I was doing the research because I have, we've both done them. We've both done
Yeah,
them multiple times.
yeah,
But I was kind of curious based on how long have they been around? Like I didn't even know how old they were. Like I know
yeah,
they've been around for a while, but how
yeah,
long?
yeah,
But I did not know that they actually have evidence that it goes back to ancient Egypt
yeah,
and actually ancient Greek and Rome. And it's been a big part of Ayurvedic medicine. I
yeah.
didn't know that.
I saw
So
that
it's been
too,
around
and I
for a long
thought, can
time.
you imagine the first person, like back in those times, that was like, hey, what if I try and shoot water up your butt? You know
Yeah,
what I mean?
pretty much so. So if you
Because
don't know what an
you're like,
enema
what?
is, that's what it is. It's shooting water up your ass.
But in those times, like someone had to be the first who said, hey, let's try it. And you're
Yeah,
like, what do you want to do to me? You
yes.
know?
And just to say, what goes up must come down.
But
And
they
when
probably
it
didn't
comes
know
down,
that. They might have not known, you know what I mean?
yes, that would be shocking because what comes out fast. And you've got to be ready. You've got to be ready. Yes. Because
I'd
it's
like to see a
messy.
skit of that actually, of the first people to ever try
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I love because even back in the day, they connected it with health. And
Yeah.
I think that's so fascinating. Like
Yeah.
they did it to ward off disease. I love
Yeah.
that. I
Yeah.
didn't know that that's what had kind of prompted, like they were looking for ways to be able to
Yeah.
ward off disease. And
Yeah.
there they are,
They were onto something.
being, yes. Now there's some other things about I don't know what, because we never find out what each other has
Yeah.
researched. We've kind of
Yeah.
both come in, we pick a topic, we both pick things.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this because I was a little shocked. I'm not gonna lie. This may be our judgy episode because holy, okay. So, and I don't want to, I'm not shaming anyone. I'm just saying this might be a little weird. This is going to
Okay.
be in the weird category.
Yeah.
But as I was researching this, I did not know that there's something referred to as enema play. So this goes into the kink. So people do this as a fetish. I love your face right now.
I'm just trying to think how that would work. Like, which part is the fetish?
Sorry.
Is it like
Okay.
seeing it come out? What is the fetish?
Oh goodness. People are interesting. Let's just say that. So when going through it, it's role play. So one of the
Oh.
things was it could be considered role play, where one would be the doctor.
Oh.
I love so it can be a medical or clinical role play.
But
And
what is like, you know, in other fetishes you're like, "Oh, it's very clear to me what the fetish part is." What's
well,
the
one's a nurse and one a nurse or doctor and one's the patient. And then the other part, so then you can dress up.
But that's
Anyways,
a role play as old as
that's a
time.
role play. Okay. Yes. Well, not when you're doing, let's be doctor and patient, and I'm going to give you an enema. I'm
Exactly. So
the
that's the
enema
new
doctor.
What's
Yeah,
going on there?
that's the new one. So then it's also dominance and submission. So you wouldn't be able to, like, the person who is the dominant one would say, would decide, I'm just going to be graphic. This is just going to be a graphic one. I don't know what else to say. So
Okay.
when you're putting in the tube, like they would put it in how far they wanted to go, the pressure, because if you've
Oh,
ever
I
done
gotcha.
these, like you can get extreme cramping
Yeah.
if the water pressure is too high. So there's no, like, it's literally you have no control over everything. So there's the dominance and submission part.
Got it. It's sort of like a S&M dominatrix realm.
Yes. Okay. And then some people, again, the physical sensations of maybe the warmth of the water or the fullness of the, because I don't know, as the water's coming in, you feel full. That can release some pressure or some pleasure.
Oh, when it comes out.
What
Oh, got
comes
it.
out? I don't know what to say. This
Kelly,
is
I can
so
promise you we don't have crossover research.
I could not. I couldn't stop laughing, and I'm like, I shouldn't laugh at this, but it would be the least kind of sexual kind of play that I would
Right.
ever consider. Like that would
Right.
that it's not even like it would be on the bottom of the list. It wouldn't be on the list.
Yeah.
So, but for some people, they're right into that.
You know
So I
what? When
thought,
you describe what it is, I get that because for people that want that submission and dominant angle, it's the ultimate. Because when you're letting someone put that in you and they're saying when you can release, that really is like a sub dom, like to the max. It's in your body. So
yeah,
I that actually I see where that fits that kink group. I don't know what to
yes,
say. Yeah.
very interesting.
Yeah.
So in doing the research, there is definitely some, I don't know, some interesting, shall
Yeah.
we say, ways to have pleasure. I don't
I
know
thought
how else to put it.
I thought it was funny that I was looking at because I'm like, how much? Because I know from my trashy reality shows that a lot of real housewives go and get these done, or they go to spas and they get these done, and they're doing it with the idea of detox. I'm like, how much is a Beverly Hills enema? And
Well, okay, so they're doing it for weight loss. Because it's a
right,
really big one for weight loss, especially like in the Asian community. So the one that I went to, I was the only white girl. Everybody else was Asian, and everyone was there for weight loss.
right, which isn't really. It's maybe for a day, it's weight loss, but
Well,
um,
that'll go into our personal stories when we get to us.
but I thought
Yeah.
it was funny that they rebranded them as colon hydrotherapy. I just thought, only in Beverly Hills did they try to make a enema sound bougie. It was like colon hydrotherapy. Oh, come in and have the pleasure of having your colon. It's just totally been Beverly Hills rebranded, so I love that. And they
That
had
is definitely
multiple
rebranded.
banner ads throughout their websites that say, "Need to come in after hours? No problem. Just pay 2 times the fee." So I guess a lot of famous people want their hydrotherapy, their colon hydrotherapy, but not when others people are around. So
There you
they
go.
book it out at night and
I
pay a
bet you they got
premium.
NDAs they've got to sign too to make
Yeah.
sure that nobody's talking about what's coming out.
Yeah. Because in Vancouver, we don't have that. Like, need to come in after. Like, that's not anywhere. And in Beverly Hills, it was like on all the sites. Like,
Interesting.
yeah.
So that's kind of what I found as far as interesting kind of facts about it. But for the most part, like a big part of why people do it, detox is a really big one. Um, for sure, people who have a lot of like gas, bloating, and who want to get rid of that, it
Yeah.
will help release some of that air. So that's really good. Um, and then, of course, people who have different medical conditions
Yeah.
like, colitis and things like that. And I think again, you got to kind of check with your doctor to see if that's going to be something that's right for you. But it was definitely was on the list of people who may want to do that. number one reason people do it is constipation,
Yeah.
people who are just can't go. And
Yeah.
it just softens and allows you to be able to kind of have that relief. So that was really, but really big.
I divided my research up into anecdotal and science because that's the problem I found. Like there's almost no actual research studies published on enemas. So most of the medical community says there's no benefits other than even the Cleveland Clinic, I was reading them and they said, as a last resort, if you're so constipated, then do an enema, but do all these other things first. So even, they're saying, yeah, it helps if you're constipated and you really need relief, but that's the only reason to do it. But of course, then there's this whole other world that says there's all these other benefits, but there's no papers other than Dr. Gerson, who runs or he's
Yes,
passed now.
yes,
And so German physicians originally were looking at these, I think, in the 1900s. Again, probably same as, I don't know where it started, but they were trying to help people. And he was German, because he passed. So he like even him, I couldn't find research papers that he published. And the people that he cured from cancer, it's anecdotal, right? It's people that say they went to there and they were cured. So I also just want to put that out there, Lucy. I know people that went to his place in Mexico, and it didn't work for them, but they were also very late stage terminal cancer. And
yeah,
just so for people that don't know, so it's a clinic in Mexico. Usually you go for about 2 weeks. And the protocol would be organic, mostly vegetable juice, cold pressed, really long time to press it, not the
yeah,
usual way. And everyone would be on a different mix of that and like a few coffee enemas a day, usually.
yes.
And so you're having these juices, coffee enemas. And when you went home after the 2 weeks, you'd have to do that for months. Uh, and with the notion that some people do say that they were cured of their cancer and some people weren't. And I believe his daughter runs it now and she changed the protocol. Interesting, he said that they had to change it a bit because even in the organic fruit and veg, that doesn't have the nutrients anymore that it did when he first started because of the soil and all that stuff.
Because of the
So our
soil.
food
Yep.
doesn't have the nutrients. So I think he added IV like drips and stuff. I don't know. But unfortunately, I couldn't find that he'd released any. So there's really no, it's all anecdotal. I just want to put that out there that anyone who's
Yeah.
saying it helped them, and there's tons of anecdotal of people saying it helped them, but
Yeah,
no
well, I
official.
know people who've gone to Mexico and done his clinic.
Yeah,
So
same. Yeah.
absolutely. I think that
Were they cured?
some, yes, some
Oh,
actually used it
yeah.
not to quote unquote cure themselves, but to get themselves ready for surgery. So
Oh,
some people had the surgery and got themselves ready and wanted
okay.
to be the healthiest they could be before they had the surgery. So I know both. And yeah, and everyone I know that has done is alive now. That's just my experience with
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
But I think that it's really helped for some people. They wanted it because they wanted to make the changes. They wanted to
Mm,
get their body really healthy,
right.
and that was the point of what they wanted to do. Now, if they were cured, they thought that was an added bonus. They weren't going
Yeah.
to get cured, they were going to
Yeah.
get themselves healthy. And
Yeah.
that's what they were going to use it for. And that seems to be probably more common than people trying to, and maybe I'm wrong, but I think that it makes sense that, to be cured, you gotta heal yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so you've got to do something and to make changes. And sometimes people need to do the drastic changes
Right.
to be able to get themselves on that road. And yeah, and everybody that I know is, yeah, doing well. So
And
yeah,
that's why he
and I know,
started. He was trying to help people get healthy like for surgeries or to do other things, and he was surprised they
yeah,
ended up curing themselves. Like that was a side
yeah,
effect he wasn't expecting.
yeah.
Um,
And I know people who have gone who didn't have cancer who just went to
oh,
detox.
oh,
So, and I
that
don't
is
know.
extreme. Holy moly.
Yeah.
Because that's
Well,
no
I think
joke.
that yeah. Well, and it's no joke if that isn't your jam, if you're coming from a place that really isn't healthy where you're eating crap. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's such a leap. Like it wouldn't be a leap for me if I went because I eat really clean. So I don't think that that would be hard at all to do.
The three coffee enemas a day? You think that'd be all?
Oh, you could do, yeah, but I'm talking about the juicing and I think you may have fasting days too. I'm not sure, but I think you've
Yeah.
got more juicing days. But yeah, you could do three enemas. I don't know. How would that? That wouldn't be that bad. I
Oh,
don't think I would do three enemas a day, and maybe one a day, but
but that, I mean,
yeah,
everyone has a different protocol. People I know that went, that's what they had to do, and it was very taxing on them. It was really hard,
yeah,
like, because the body, that's hard on the body, right?
yeah, for
Um,
sure. I don't think I would do three a day. I don't know because I don't know. I think that would be too much for my body because it doesn't need to super detox, but I would do detox and do the coffee enemas for sure.
yeah,
And the
but
place
you
that
could
I
just go
had
to a
gone
spa
to,
and do that. You don't
I was
need to
just
go.
gonna say the place that I went to, they were really amazing because they were like, okay, what do you want to add on? So you could add
Right.
on probiotics or you could
Yeah.
do coffee. And I was trying to think, I think it might have been aloe or something that you
Oh,
also
interesting.
could. So there was different things that you could choose from to add
Okay.
on. Yeah.
I just want to tell people because you might be wondering why coffee. And so the thinking is, let me find this. It stimulates bile flow in the body and the production of glutathione. So that's a detoxifying antioxidant that goes through your body. Um, the only thing is, the counterpoint of that is people say you get that from drinking coffee anyway. So I just want to put both points out there.
Yeah, and I think it's also more, I think for what I remember, the coffee was like it was a better, it was like a scrub, like you know, you have the coffee scrubs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's also a bit of a scrub too. I could be wrong, but for some reason I think I read something about how it's kind of it more cleanses the intestine too better.
Hmm. Okay. There were, and I, just to be on, there were, it's a supposed, like, possibly, I don't know how to say this, 3 deaths from coffee enemas because of, they said, electrolyte imbalance and bacterial infection and rectal burns, which sounds truly torturous. I don't know why that would happen. Did they accidentally, like, did they put in hot coffee? I don't know, or the acid from the coffee.
It
Um,
could be. But
yeah,
again, like everybody's so different, right? So you have to know your body really well. And
yeah,
yes, I think that I- again, no two places are the same in going and having these done, right?
yeah,
What I kind of experience is that no two places are the
yes,
same. And some
yes.
people have the makeshift places where
Oh
they're
God.
using a bathroom.
Oh
The
my
first place
God.
yes, where I went to a place where it was actually like a machine that did it. Did
Totally.
you
I
do
would
that?
I would only do that. I would, like, it's
Yeah.
the scary thing. You got to think you're putting something in your body. You don't want to introduce bacteria, you know.
Yes,
So, God.
100%. Everything has to be very sterile, and you
Yeah.
have to have a place like you have to be by a bathroom. Like
Right.
you got to have a
Oh God,
toilet.
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
there's no question about that because it's
Yeah.
coming out.
Yeah.
And I was reading too that now astronauts are starting to do enemas before they travel.
Oh, that
There's
makes sense.
different sports uh, there's different sports like why am I
Professional athletes.
athletes. I'm like,
Yeah.
what's the word? Athletes
Yeah.
that actually use them too. So
That makes sense. Before a
yeah,
big match. Yeah, or before a big run. You
yeah,
don't want to have to
yeah.
stop.
Well, every surgery I've had, like massive surgery I've had, like they do that enema on you. So
Yeah.
they do them in the ho in the hospital and kind of yeah, just lay on your left side and then you run to the bathroom and you're
Yeah.
there until it's done.
Wheatgrass is another thing people put
Yes,
in them,
wheatgrass was the other one. And was it
which is,
not chlorella? I think it might have been chlorella too, might have also been one of the ones that you could put in.
yeah. So based on a small study in Israel in 2002, and it showed that wheatgrass seemed to reduce inflammation in the colon. Um, so I wish someone would do more research if it showed signs of that, and people are doing it because so many people have inflammation in their colon, right?
Yes, especially things like food allergies over time.
Yes.
Eating foods are that you're allergic to over time will create a lot of inflammation.
So basically, that I just want to say the reason that if you went to a place that does the, like, specifically gives enemas or colon hydrotherapy, is that what they're telling people is that colon health gets compromised, waste backs up, it becomes toxic in the body, and it releases the toxins through the bowel walls into the bloodstream, and then cleansing the colon lightens that on every part of your body. So that's what they're saying. But then the medical system and science would say your body already has a great system to do that and you don't need to help it. So that's the counter argument of why science is saying you don't need to add on. Um, yeah, you don't need to help your
Yeah.
digestive tract, basically.
Yeah. Well, I think we've all proven that. Yeah. That that's not true.
But
So,
that's the problem. There is no, like, no one's doing research on this. There's no papers out there.
yeah.
There's no like science. It's all anecdotal. It's so frustrating.
Well, yeah, because the thing is this is that you can't if it works for somebody, it works. Do you know what I mean? And it may not work for everybody, but
Yeah,
again, there's nothing that works for everybody. Like I
right,
think we are all made up a little bit differently, so we can
right.
say that.
Yep.
And then I will say that how the world has turned and how our food is has created so much, I think, in my opinion, a lot of damage to our bodies. Like our food is just crap. It's crap. Like
Yeah.
I was saying over Christmas, we were doing our Christmas shop and we were walking around the supermarket, and I was just thinking, like, this is just sad. Like I'm okay, here's another judgy thing. So I was looking at what people are putting in their baskets, and I'm like, good
Oh,
God, like it's really sad. I'm like, that's not even food. Like, read the
yeah.
ingredients in it. And it's like we were going, so we only shop on the outskirts of
Right.
the grocery store,
Yep.
the middle aisles. It's just crap. Don't buy it. I don't even get why it's even there. And even looking at the vegetables, like it's just oversprayed. And again, like we talked about earlier, there's not enough nutrients in the soils. So we're having a really hard time being able to get that. So over time, that's taking, a hell of our bodies are taking a hell of a beating because of it. And even the people who are eating well are still having troubles. And I think that it's hard to say that, based on how our medical system is and the amount of people that need help, that, you know, we're heading in the right direction. Like we're not headed in the right direction. I think we're doing more harm than we're doing good as far as that. And
I think
so
more and more people are waking up to that, though, don't you?
I do. I think
Yeah.
there are, but not enough. Not enough to
Mm.
make a change, that's for sure. Because when you look at the cost of food,
Oh, yeah.
it's still more affordable to eat the crap, like the crap dinner or the things that are, I don't know, cheaper. Those I was going to say, what are those noodles, the ramen noodles or whatever, but the
Yeah.
itchy ban, the
Oh,
itchy
yeah.
ban,
Yeah.
full of MSG, full of
Right.
crap, like that's still more affordable to eat than real food, right?
Yeah.
And even then, the real food that we have is still not great.
Right.
So I think that when we look at things like this to be able to help our bodies, and I don't know, I didn't go when I went and did it, I wanted to number one experience it to see what was going on in my body. And number two, just to kind of have an idea of what else is out there that can be helpful for other people, because I like to experience things to see what I can recommend and suggest,
Right.
but I'm not going to recommend and suggest most of the time. I'm not going to recommend something that I haven't tried
Yeah.
personally, because at least I can recommend it based on my experience or what I've learned from it.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that had so many people were talking about, and I had never experienced, so I went and did it. And you definitely can get relief. And it's not even like I didn't, like I say, like I didn't have constipation or anything, but you could feel the difference. It's like, I don't know, it's almost like a little bit of a feeling of euphoria afterwards. And then you just feel, I don't know, I want to say the word, you kind of feel clean. I don't know if that's I don't know how else to really say it, but I definitely feel like there was a difference.
Okay.
Did
Interesting.
you feel that or no?
Um, it's hard for me to remember. I can't remember at the time if I thought that. So I was a bit different. So the way I found the place that I went to, I think I was Googling. I was just so tired all the time. And I would get rashes on my hands. I'd get these red bump rashes on my elbows. And at the time, I didn't know why. And like my joints were sore. So I'm Googling all my symptoms coming up, and it's coming up like chronic fatigue could be a thing, and this or that. And because of that, I found this place. I think it's called Inner Garden Health. And this is many years ago. And Sue, the founder, at the time it was just her. Like I actually looked it up the other day, and she has tons of people working there now. So it must have really grown.
Oh, good for
But
her.
she was a flight attendant for, I think, 15 or 20 years on Air Canada. She had chronic fatigue. And what would you call it? Modern medicine couldn't help her. They're just like, we don't know why you're so tired or whatever. So then she
Oh,
started
okay.
exploring other things, found enemas. She went and did them somewhere else in the world and suddenly had just, I was going to say a shitload. That would be quite the pun. A ton of energy and felt really young. And it was like night and day for her. And it made such an impact on her that she felt, I have to help people. So that's why she opened the clinic, and it was just her. Uh, and so I went for that. Now, since then, like, let me just cut to and say, I realized my rash came from eating gluten. I didn't, I found that out years later. So if I eat gluten now, it's really clear. Like, I get the rash, I get the bumps. If I don't have gluten, it's not there. And my like joint pain is from dairy. If I have dairy, I feels like I have arthritis. But if I don't have dairy, I don't have those aches and pains. So the enema didn't help with those things. But I did feel, I think I might have thought it helped with energy, and I don't know if it did, but that's why I started doing a ton at home. And so did Paul. But the reason I stopped is because I got scared that, because when I would first do them and I would hold whatever you're holding in there, like that you're trying to like, let soak in. And I started to not be able to hold it in as long, like I felt like, like, and I can't hold it and it's gonna come out. So I thought I was weakening muscles that I didn't want to weaken, and it kind
What do
of
you mean
freaked
by
me out.
hold? I didn't like when I did
Like if you,
them, you're hooked up to the machine, so you have no control of it. You have
no,
no
I was
authority to
doing them at
hold.
home. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Yeah.
But then why are you holding though?
Like could be a coffee enema or a wheatgrass enema. So you
Oh,
after you clear yourself out, you put in with the thing that you put in you and you leave it in your body for I think you're supposed to do I can't remember now 10 minutes or something, and you're
oh,
just supposed to
okay.
let it sit before you let it out. So I
Okay.
couldn't do that anymore, and that really scared me. I thought what's going on? Like I don't want my my anus
Muscles.
muscles to not be able to hold, a shit. So I stopped doing them. But there was like months there where Paul and I, yeah, did them. Not that I was doing them every day or anything either. Just, yeah, it was pretty quick that that happened. But the woman, Sue, she really believed in it, right? And that was what's beautiful. Her husband made me out of metal a bath, like the proper kind of what would you call it, like a bucket, so that I could do it at home, and gave me the kit so I didn't have to pay her because she was quite expensive. And everything has to be so sterile. So it was a metal bucket that was like easy to make sure it was super
Yeah.
clean, not plastic. And showed us where to get the coffee enema stuff that Dr. Gerson recommended, like the ones that from his site he
Yeah.
says, all that. Uh,
It has to be organic.
has to be, yeah. So we would order that somewhere in the States, that one. And yeah, so I can't remember, but I must have felt something because I did want to keep doing it at home and doing it for a while, but I eventually stopped. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wish I could say that I felt one way or the other, but this is over a decade ago now. But even doing all the research and seeing all the stories, I thought I do kind of feel like I want to do one again.
I know I said to you, I'm like, oh, I'm hoping I had time
Yeah,
to do one before we
yeah,
do this, which
yeah.
I didn't. But I remember that the guy, so when I got there, I'd never done it before. My sister is the one who actually had told, I had a bunch of patients who had done them, but my sister was the one who like really was like, you've got to do this. It's amazing.
Okay,
So I went to the place, I went to a different place than she went to because she went to a did she go? I think she went to a naturopath who was doing them, but it was kind of like in a bathroom. Like the naturopath had it set up in the office, and it was like I can't remember. It was like there was a bathroom, and I don't know. And I was just like, okay, let me see what else is out there. So I went and found this place, and like I say, it was only Asian people. It was the only white person there, and I was like, "This has got to be good." Like I felt like I had won the lottery because I'm like, if anything, if you see, like for me, it was like we live in Vancouver. There's a huge Asian population,
yeah.
and I always feel like for health, like they always seem to know where to
Oh
go.
yeah,
So I was super excited.
yeah.
So I was sitting there and they called my name and some guy comes out and he does this whole questionnaire with me. This guy and I argued the entire time. It was comical because he's telling me like he does like a full like consolation on how did I say that
I
right
thought
about
you were going to say constipation.
no, he did a whole consult. I'm like, am I saying the word right? No, he did a whole consult on eating foods and which foods to eat. And every time I'm like, okay, but like, uh, uh, uh,
You're like,
I have
I
a
know.
nutrition background, and I'm like, I'm a nutrition background. I do Chinese medicine, and I'm like, so I write out everything I eat, and no matter what I said I ate, he was telling me something that I could eat better. I look down for that. I don't have a problem with somebody saying like if there's something better I could do, but I felt like he was just arguing with me the whole time. And I'm like, dude, okay. And then he's telling me I got to come every day. And I'm like, what do you mean? And he's like, well,
What?
you got to come every day. You got to come every day. Like, this is really important, or a minimum, you got to come every other day. And I'm like, well, let me try one and get back to you on that one. So we end up he shows me the room and there's this giant machine and you can see it all coming out. So I'm laying there, they leave you while you're laying on your
Yeah.
side and everything's coming out and then he comes back in and I'm like, oh God, there's no privacy. Why is he in here? And then he starts to tell me what's going on. And I'm like, okay. And then he's telling me, you we really need to work on your foods. And I'm okay. And then he's kind of doing his whole diagnosis, and there's stuff coming out. I'm not going to say there isn't coming out, but I kind of thought it was going to be disgusting. Do you know what I mean? Like, I thought this was going to be the grossest thing in the whole world. And so by the end, he's like, oh, and he kept saying, oh, there's some undigested food. And I'm like, okay. And then by the end, his assessment was that I needed to come and do this every day. And I'm like, I don't think that feels right. Like there was something that didn't feel right about it because I'm
Yeah.
saying to him, like, if you're doing this every day, at some point in time, your body's going to lose function to do it on its own. And he's
Yeah.
like, oh no, I come every day. I get it done every day.
What?
So him and I were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And I was like, and he told me I was wrong. And I'm just like, I don't think I'm wrong about this. Like, I said, I think this is a great tool. Don't get me wrong. And I think this is something that can be very beneficial to people. And I said, I really see the benefit if you had like fecal impact or you had constipation and you needed relief. Absolutely. This would be amazing. And I said, but for somebody who eats the way I do and has the lifestyle that I do, I think this is something you might want to do a couple times a year if you wanted to do like a detox or if you were in the middle of a detox, because I do detoxes during the year. I do one, maybe two a year, usually one, but this would be like a nice addition to be able to add on to that. Or if you were having some problems and maybe they could add in like aloe or something to help soothe the intestines, I think that would be great. But oh my gosh, the guy argued with me the entire time. I was just I don't know. We had and by the end, I said to him, listen, I said, I appreciate you because this is what you do. This is clearly you're very passionate about what you do. But I think we need to leave this by agreeing to disagree. And I said, I think at some point in time, this is more about a selling feature for
Yeah.
you than it is actually for people's health. Even though I do believe that you are here to help people, but I don't think that anybody should do this every day. And he's just
Yeah.
because again, they have packages and
Right.
selling things. And I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't really work for me. And I think that like anything, you can overdo it. So
Well, I would defy anyone to show me someone that eats healthier than you. So it's unfathomable to me that he's telling you to eat different. Like that in itself is suspicious. And then telling you to come in every day, it just sounds like he was running a scam. Like,
yeah. And I feel bad because like I don't want to say the name of the place because I feel
yeah.
like
Yeah.
they're trying to help people. And I do believe that because it wasn't even just like come in and just do the enema. Like, they wanted to talk about nutrition. They wanted to talk about health. but they also want to talk about selling packages, right? So there's
Yeah.
this balance in between. But I think that you have to go by your own gut to be able to decide what is
Another
going
pun.
another fun to be able to know what's best for you.
Yeah.
And at some point in time, I'm like, we just need to agree to disagree because I said I will come back and do this, but I'm not coming back tomorrow.
I would not want a dude. I would not be comfortable with a guy in the room.
Yeah, no, it
Yeah.
wasn't comfortable. I'm not gonna
No.
lie, it wasn't. And I think more so maybe if it was my second time, I was already a little bit,
You're
you see
so
the machine
exposed.
and
Yeah.
yes, and you see the machine and you're already, although he didn't put the tube in, a girl came in and put the tube in.
Oh,
So
okay.
that was also nice. And like I say, like she came in, put the tube in, left, and then I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm just gonna hang
Right.
out. And then he walks in, and I'm like, oh
Oh
God,
my God, Kelly.
here we go again.
Like, what's
I'm
happening
like,
right
I'm exhausted from arguing with you, but okay.
now?
But it is really neat when they tell you what's coming out. You can see it, and like
Yeah.
I don't know, it might not, it might be gross some people out, and they may not want to see that. But I was kind of fascinated. Like I wanted every part of the experience. I wanted to know like what's digesting, what's not digesting. I had some stuff that wasn't what that was undigested, but for the most part, I think it was pretty good. But I think
Yeah.
that's normal. Like
Yeah.
nobody like is even as clean as I eat, I still have problems because again, the how our food is made, it's not the greatest, right? And even when it says organic, oh God, instead of having 5,000 chemicals, it has 200. Still got chemicals on it, right?
That reminds me, I was watching a podcast of that I like, just like an entertainment podcast, and the girl said her doctor had said, he's like, I don't know if someone's trying to poison you, but you have very high levels of arsenic in your blood.
Hmm.
So let's look at everything you're eating. And, it's kind of known that most rice is covered in arsenic. You got to wash it. Or there's
Yes.
actually, we only buy one brand that you told me your friend
Yeah.
had researched, like that's the one
Yep.
brand that won't have arsenic.
What was it? Lundberg? I think it's Lundberg.
Lumberg.
It,
Yeah. The
yeah,
organic Lumberg.
it's yeah, that's the only
Only
one
one.
that
Yeah.
apparently they had done testing and they couldn't find it.
Yeah. So for years, that's all that Paul and I've got. But he also said almond milk. He said that comes over on the trains. I don't know from wherever that she lives in California, and he said even if it was made organic, they're spraying those trains for rats,
Yep.
and so it could end up on the almonds in the almond milk, regardless. So he told her to cut out any rice and almond in any form from her diet, and then let's see if it goes out of her blood. But scary to think about
Yeah.
someone who thinks they're eating quite healthy, is possibly vegan, and has a bunch of arsenic in their blood. Like, holy moly.
Yeah, and that's why I say, like, at the end of the day, even the people who eat the healthiest, it's still like before when I first started as a nutritionist 30 whatever
Yeah.
years ago, um, I really had this strong like belief system that, you're not taking supplements all the time because I really want you to get it from your food.
Yeah.
And I really focused and I was really like, I don't know, maybe a little heavy-handed and saying like, no,
Yeah.
let's get rid of the vitamins because let's get you eating the right foods. And for a lot of people, it was huge. But let's be honest, as we're going around and there's more and more research to show that, our fields are stripped of all the minerals and the nutrients that we need, there's a lot of people struggling. And so now I'm like, okay, let's do the blood work. Let's see how things are going in the body and let's see what you're missing. And now I'm back to being, okay, let's look at your foods, but let's also look what you're missing in the body. Because if you're struggling, there's certain things that we need to take. And then again, there's also different things like if you're vegan or vegetarian, there's going to be things that you're going to get from meat that you're not going to get in other places, depending on what your diet looks like. So,
And the
yeah.
quality of supplements is a thing too. Some vitamins are made better than others. It's like, it's so
Oh,
complicated, right?
100%, 100%. Yeah, and that's one thing that again, that I learned is that you need to make sure that the supplements that you're taking are being tested. Yeah,
Hmm.
and lots of places don't do it. And the places that do it, you're paying for that in the vitamins. So your vitamins are going to be a lot more expensive. But I'm like, it's worth it because you know what you're taking is is actually high potency, which is what you want. But also, you're not getting all the other crap in it. You're not
Yeah.
getting the fillers. You're not getting any of the other, I don't know,
Sugars and stuff they
poisons.
put in them.
Well, I
Yeah.
was going to say, yeah, or any of the other poisons that might be in it and how they're processing it, and what plants are you using, like what factories are they using? Those are really big. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know that people are like, oh, they're rip off because they're so expensive. And I'm like, well, if you look at the ones that are expensive, a lot of times it's because they're paying for all this additional testing. And
Mm,
that's what you want.
yeah. Absolutely. Oh my gosh. Uh, so I want to give huge props to Jenny McCarthy
Oh,
because when I was looking up who's admitting that they're doing enemas, it was very slim pickings of people saying that they do enemas. Uh, I think Katy Perry and Gwyneth Paltrow are the only people that are out there saying we love enemas and we do them. But Jenny McCarthy and Donnie Wahlberg used to have a reality show, and she on TV.
oh my gosh, you let cameras in?
Well,
No
sort of.
way.
She was in bed really struggling. I guess I only watched the clip. She looked like in a lot of pain. She had the blanket over her. Um, who knows how much of that is real, but it looked real. And then Donnie comes in and she's like, I have to have an enema. Like, I cannot bear this pain. So he's going through the bathroom. He finds one. And to be honest, I'd never seen like an at-home enema kit. I guess you can buy them because I
Yeah,
had my bucket and my tubes. So it was the little bottle with it already had the liquid in it with the little longer
yeah,
syringe,
yeah.
you know. And he pulled that note out, and I thought, oh, that looks really cute. You never know what it does. And so, yeah, so then he kind of like drags her across the floor into the bathroom, and she's like, oh my God. And the camera's kind of backed up a
Oh
little
my
bit.
God.
And she's like, he goes, okay, here you go. And she goes, no, you have to do it. You have to stick it in. And he's like, what? I can't stick it
Um,
in. And she's like, you have to, just don't look. And he's like, I
just
have
don't
to
look.
look. What if I put it in the wrong hole? Like I gotta look.
I'm
Anyways, there's a
way
clip. So
too
I'm like,
good.
wow, very big props to her for not only admitting that she did one, but doing it on camera is like a whole other level of unashamedness, which is not a word. Um,
Okay, so now I need to know what was wrong with her. Like, did she just have severe
I
constipation
think
where
she
it
was,
was just,
yeah, I think she was really constipated. Because, well, when he found her in the bed, like she had a blanket over like her head, and she was just like really curled up, and she's like, I can't take it anymore. Um, I don't know. Yeah, it was a clip. I'm get. It must have been constant. She must have been really backed up. Um,
okay.
it was funny too. I was researching this in a cafe again, and I had my back to the wall. And just like when we did OnlyFans, you're like, I don't want anyone seeing that I just
Yeah.
have enema. There's so many puns with this topic. Enema shit all over the screen. And but I'm fine. Like there's garbage cans behind me, but there's garbage cans at the door. Everyone goes out that way. Some sweet old ladies come behind me, throw something, and I see them talking and they notice something. They tell the staff. A staff member comes over, looks behind, they noticed someone had poured something like weird under the garbage cans. Now all of the staff are behind me in this little corner. Like I'm talking five of them, and they're all there talking, but I see them looking at my screen, looking at me, and I'm like, it just looks like I'm madly researching enemas. So it's just something when you have an embarrassing topic, somehow the universe wants people to
Yeah.
know about it.
But I do. I don't know why this is embarrassing. I don't think that enemas are embarrassing. I don't know. Maybe because
Well,
I've done them and I have no problem about talking about this. Like you
it
think about
felt
it, like if
uncomfortable. I don't know what
if
to
you've
tell
got
you.
all this shit stuck in your intestines, the amount of toxins, like it's trying to release toxins out of your body. Like I'm thinking this is exciting, not embarrassing. But I can see the topic of anything to do with shit is, yeah, people get squeamish about it.
I also just want to say that I saw another, like anecdotally, someone saying why they thought that these are a good thing is and I didn't fact check this, so please fact check it if it sounds like something that might help you. But they said 90% of serotonin is made in the gut. I don't know if that's
Yeah,
true.
that
So
is
the
true.
theory, okay, so the theory was if you're, it could help with depression. Um, Again, that was just a hypothesis I saw out there. And for me, I guess because I'm married to a research scientist, I'm all like, there's no studies, and I just want to say anecdotal versus science. But just common sense, I get that if you clean everything out a little bit, just, in that lower area, we're not going through all the intestines here, and then you put in probiotics and let that sit for a bit. It's funny, Paul calls
Yeah,
me big gut, which is like, it sounds like he's bullying me or a monster, like I've gained weight, but it's because all like 30% of the time I just talk about the importance of gut health. I've become like the last year I'm just obsessed with it. I'm reading all the books on it, and more research is showing almost all health issues, all the autoimmune stuff seems to be, not all, I shouldn't say
autoimmune.
that, but a lot of them are going back to gut health. So it just
Absolutely.
makes sense to me that if you're putting probiotic, introducing them in there, that it could help heal
Yeah.
people that are possibly suffering.
I
Um,
think that it's kind of there's like this social norm that seems to be where, anybody who's trying to do something to help themselves, people are always making fun of it, especially if it's outside people's comfort zones or if it's that thing that seems like, well, because let's be honest, anything to do with shit people, it's like a great comedy skit, right? And
Totally.
enemas
Yeah.
have been used in comedy skits for forever. And then you've got like, I don't know, then you got the weird fetish people who are using the enemas. And then even which I didn't talk about, which I thought was actually hilarious. So they call it the royal flush, which I think is even better.
Oh my God.
So Louis the 14th of France had reportedly had hundreds of enemas during his reign, but sometimes he would do them while he was holding court.
Oh
So,
my God.
so he wasn't embarrassed to be
Wow.
doing enemas and holding court while
Wow.
everyone's sitting around. Yeah.
That reminds me, there was a president that would be like taking a shit in the Oval Office and still make people have meetings with him and like have the,
That's
who
a
was
very
that?
man thing. I think men are really not. I think women are more sensitive to this subject. I think men
Yeah.
are like, yeah, bring it on. This is great.
That reminds me. So when Paul and I were both started doing, he would do the coffee enemas a lot more, because he read all the Gerson stuff and was very into that. But we lived in a junior one bedroom at the time, which is like they call them junior one bedrooms. There's no door, there's no privacy. I used to say living there was like being put through the marriage Olympics if you could survive. Like you're not getting dressed alone, you're not eating alone, you're not sitting on the toilet alone, you're never alone, right? And you're not doing an enema alone. So it was common for me to have to like step over Paul like to get to the kitchen where he's laying on a towel, like with his coffee enema brewing inside and he'd be there reading a book. And I would often think, like, is there such a thing as being too close with your husband? Um, there might be. And at the time, a friend of mine was dating a guy, and I remember it was a thing because he'd said to her, "Oh, well, if we go pee in front of each other, we lose the magic." And so he
Oh,
wouldn't even like,
wow.
and I just thought the comparison of this guy not being willing to like, they couldn't pee in front of each other, and there I am stepping over Paul while he's doing a coffee enema, was just so comical to me. And maybe a married couple can be too close. We might have pushed the boundaries on that. I don't know, but I thought it was
Mm.
hilarious. It's so
I'm
funny.
going to say no. I'm going to say
You don't
no.
think
I
so?
was thinking that's how you know you have a great marriage if you can
Okay.
do coffee enemas together. Yeah, that's a lifetime essentially. That's a
um,
new level of comfort.
okay. Uh, and I haven't told you. So the first time that I ever went to that clinic and I did the enema, it was my first one, and you're so nervous, and you go in and you got to go on your side, and she says, okay, like relax. She's gonna put the like they insert the tube in your bum
Mhm.
hole for people that don't know. And it doesn't go in very far. It's not painful. They also put
No.
lube on it, or at home, like I would
Yeah,
use.
it goes like 2 to 4 inches
Yeah,
depending.
you don't
Yeah.
feel it basically. I mean,
No.
something's in there, but it's not painful. Um, I would use vitamin E oil. And so she's like, relax. And you're like, are you kidding me right now? Like, there's no way I can relax. And I was so nervous. She was lovely though. It did make me feel calm. And uh and so she does it and I'm like, okay, I'm relaxing. She's talking to me and it's the same experience you had where like she would put it in to flush it out and she's watching it all come out and she never left the room and she's telling me and diagnosing like, oh, because the day before you also don't eat a lot, but you can have like raw fruit and vegetables and that stuff. Uh, Side note, that is a thing that the Gerson method also says raw. They only say eat raw fruit and vegetable. Uh, and she's like, "Oh, I see some apple peel here. Your body's not digesting that, so that means your body isn't digesting, you know." And she's doing this diagnosis thing for me. And as that's going on, I just want to set the picture. So you know when you're like at home, well, I don't know if you ever lived in an apartment, and they'll often put up a warning sign that says like, "Okay, we're gonna clean the windows on Wednesday from 10 to 4." And you're like, "Oh God." And
Oh, geez.
when they come to do it, you know, you're always in the most weird position. Like, and you're always like eye to eye with the window cleaner. It's like, I forgot he was
Oh,
coming. And
oh
so
no.
that's always me anyway. And I'm like, I'd love to hear a podcast, Tales of a Window Washer, because boy, do they have stories, I'm sure. But
And the window washer.
I was in a windowless room. Um,
Oh, I thought the window washer was coming down for you.
it's
I
a
was feeling bad.
So it was a windowless room except for a tiny little dirty skylight right above me. And so that is the day of the year where suddenly you hear like squeak, squeak, squeak as a man cleans this dirty skylight and is like bent over with his hands on his knees, looking through the window, confused, looking down at me suddenly. And I'm like just looking right up at him. And you see him try and see what he's looking at. So he's confused and bewildered, like, and then just go, oh yeah, I'll come back. And he like steps off the roof, and she's like, "I'm so sorry. They should tell me, or they usually tell me when they're gonna clean the windows." I
Oh,
couldn't believe it. So luckily that did make me like I just started laughing so hard. And she's saying to me, "Don't laugh," because yeah, I'm like having to hold the water in. But I'm like, how could I not laugh? A man just caught me having an enema who it looks terrified. Like I think he was worried about me.
he's
Um,
thinking you got some kink and some fetishes going on.
I think he came back. He was like, "What is going on down there?" Yeah. But what are the chances? She's like, "I swear they clean that once a year." Like it
Oh
happened to
my
me when I was
God.
getting my first enema. So
She's
that was pretty
very
funny.
lucky that you took that well, because I don't know if everybody would take
Yeah.
that so
Yeah.
well.
And all yeah, in me saying all the embarrassed stuff, I am really comfortable. I'm that person that I love like people's poo stories or pooing their pants or talking about like I think it's funny and I'm that person at the party. I have me and one other friend. And then I have my friends that are very reserved and like, "Oh, Becky, you know, we don't talk about poo." Or you know what I mean? There's people that are totally open and people that don't want to hear about it. So, I'm comfy hearing your poo stories.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because of my work. People love to come and tell me their anything to do with their poo, their intestines, and like we'll be out with a group of friends, we'll be out, and somebody will be like, "Oh, listen, yeah, I was meaning to ask you," and I'm like, we're getting ready for dinner. I don't know if the best time." I'm happy to listen to your stories, but do we have to do it now? And they're like, "Yeah, but I keep forgetting." I'm like, "All right, bring it on. What is going on?"
Oh God.
It happens all the
Yeah.
time, more
And
times than I can count.
so much is linked back to it. So I get it.
Yeah, yeah.
We want to know.
Okay.
So we shared a couple of our funny or embarrassing enema experiences. So please share. Everyone's always writing each of us, but please, if you listen on Spotify, put it in the comments or on our Instagram posts or on TikTok. Please share your stories or comments or thoughts on enemas, opinions. We'd love to hear them and share them, and we'll share them with everybody in our next live chat. We'll maybe read some out because I'm sure anyone who's done one probably has something to share.
And we know there's people out there who are doing them for sure.
Yes, absolutely.